Have you ever wondered what happened to our 40 acres and a mule? In 1865, special field orders were issued following General Sherman's infamous March to the Sea, a military campaign during the American Civil War, in which General William Sherman led Union forces through Georgia, causing a 300-mile-long destruction from Atlanta to Savannah, which effectively disrupted the Southern economy, preventing the Confederate Army from defending its heartland. The special field orders originally intended to address the immediate problem of dealing with the tens of thousands of black refugees who abandoned various plantations and joined Sherman's march in search of protection and sustenance. Secretary of War Edwin Stanton suggested to General Sherman that they should meet with leaders of the local black community to discuss Savannah's refugee crisis. On January 12, 1865, at 8 p.m., 20 African-American Baptist and Methodist ministers met with General Sherman and Secretary Stanton in regards to what the clergymen wanted for their people after the war concluded. Garrison Frazier, a Baptist minister, was selected by his fellow clergymen as the spokesperson. According to accounts, Sherman and Stanton were very impressed by Frazier. Frazier explained that they didn't want to live amongst white people because they feared it would take years for racial prejudice to dissipate in the South. Alternatively, they wished to live amongst themselves on their own land. This would ultimately entail redistributing the land of the Southern plantation owners to the formerly enslaved. 4 days later, Sherman issued his Special Field Orders number 15, which allowed for the confiscation of 400,000 acres of land across the Atlantic coast of South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, and dividing it into parcels of no more than 40 acres. This was to be settled by approximately 18,000 former enslaved families and other blacks living in the area. There were actually no mention of mules in the order, but some of the formerly enslaved population were granted army mules, resulting in the reparations program widely being known as 40 acres and a mule. Some historians believe Sherman's intention for the order was to be a temporary solution to address the immediate problem and not to grant permanent ownership of the land to the freedmen, although most of the recipients assumed otherwise. However, after the assassination of President Lincoln in April 1865, President Andrew Johnson, originally a Southerner who favored Confederate slaveholders, overturned the special order in August of 1865. President Andrew Johnson issued a proclamation that ultimately returned most of the lands to the Southern owners. Johnson also granted amnesty to former Confederates and allowed the rebel states to elect new governments. These governments, which often included ex-Confederate officials, soon enacted laws designed to control and repress the recently freed slave population, leaving the freed blacks without any means of supporting themselves. In the end, the 40 acres and a mule phrase has become a symbol of the broken promise of reparations for slavery in the United States and embodies a larger issue of systematic racial discrimination and economic inequality faced by blacks throughout U.S. history. So what are your thoughts? Will black people in America ever receive proper reparations? Let me know in the comments.